Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about copy pasting. So let's get into it. So the question in question was actually a follow-up on the last question that I got, where the person writes back after me explaining basically my thoughts on why it's nigh on impossible. It is impossible to create a promotion strategy or like a internal promotion strategy that leads to just having very good technical stakeholders that only can help companies create good systems without legacy. And basically the question now is that, so I'm guessing that this phenomenon also arises even in tech companies founded by programmers, even when their top management or private owners. Correct. This is what I've said in the last video. It doesn't matter if you are a programmer or not, because usually what happens when you get up to the higher scales is it's not the fact that you're not a programmer that is the problem with managing big companies. It's the problem is communication channels. You simply do not have, you're one person. You cannot control every department and keep up quality. You have to be basically a genius level developer in order to solve this problem. And some developers, like take Google as they're the prime candidate for this problem. It's actually why I argue that Google is probably where they are today, because they have had some of the most genius developers in the world, and some of the most genius people in the world, help them set up a company structure that scales. That is a harder problem than most people understand. Another good example that is non-technical is Richard Branson and the Virgin Company. He also understands a few of these core truths that are needed in order to do this really well. It would seem that bureaucratic large sizes will inevitably make corporate politics the enemy of truly good high-quality code bases. Yes, corporate office politics is, in my opinion, usually the result of a because you can't keep every single person in the company at the same level. Office politics usually happens when you have ignorant people who are either at different levels of intelligence or have different priorities get in the way of each other. Usually you don't have office politics in a group who truly trust each other and are on the same wavelengths, because they don't have to have politics, because they basically act and think of a similar mind in almost all situations. Your video and subsequent reply really explained in detail something that few could fully imagine or understand from the outside. You've given us some very valuable insights here. Thank you. Perhaps by pure luck or accident at some point there may be one company that avoids this pitfall and becomes a poster child, an ideal case to study for defeating this phenomenon, and then any smart company will imitate that model, perhaps similar to how Toyota pioneered total quality management for operations. It's such a beautiful way of segueing into something that I hope a few of you will be able to identify with. Because basically what the question is here is it possible that maybe one or two companies will be able to solve this gigantic problem of quality code bases and quality software development practices, so that others can learn from them. And that is literally what Google is. That is what Google is. They are, in my opinion, at the very least, Google is the poster child for good software practices. That doesn't mean that they're perfect. Similar thing with Mozilla and so forth. What I'm saying is that the entire IT world watches what these, and it's not just Google, there are a few of these companies, these select gigantic titans of IT. Everybody's trying to copy what they're doing. Literally everybody. And it's not just, this is not a phenomenon that's just in IT. Literally everybody. Do you have any idea how many get-rich-quick books there are from different entrepreneurs who sort of made a success of themselves and now are making even more money from selling their books to people who want to be like them? It's the whole fame thing. It's the reason why people want to be movie stars. It's the reason why people want to be rock stars, etc. Unless they're actually there for the music, God forbid, and not just the money and the fame. So the problem is that with this is that there is a cycle to this that I argue is it's not that many people who really understand that. And this is just my take on it, and this is the thing I see. And hopefully you will have something to take away from this. So what you're describing is already happening. And it's been happening forever. It's always this way. You have some genius type of person who goes and does something amazing. It becomes this massive super success. And then people who are not a genius will try to copy that. Now the problem is, and this is literally like, this is Steve Jobs, this is your like Bezos, and like all these sort. It doesn't have to just be them. It can be anybody, literally anybody who has done something amazing, become this super success will have a entourage of copy-paste followers who are going to try to just mimic what they are doing. It's what I like to call the imitation game. They're just trying to imitate the thing that other person is doing and hope that some of that genius is going to rub off on them. Now the problem with that is that they are not geniuses. Because it's like going to the zoo. If you make a gesture at the monkey will try to mimic what you're doing, but the monkey doesn't understand the significance of what they're doing. And that is what's happening in IT. So every single person usually who goes and says, oh, we're going to do OKRs, we're going to do Agile, we're going to do this, or microservices, shit like that. What they usually have done is that they've just gone to a tech talk which has been held by people who are from these genius level companies who really understand, or who in many cases, who understand the underlying truth of why this is working for them, who understand they have the soul of the problem down, if that makes sense. And then it's like just looking at a painting for the people who are copying it. They don't understand the underlying reason why this is working. So they just sketch it over like to their little pad, and they go back to their manager, and then they say, hey guys, we should do agile practices. And then the manager goes, why? Well, because Google does it. And that's why they always fail. They always fail. And they are always going to fail because they're not genius level. They don't have a genius level understanding of why they do what they do. They're simply imitating what somebody else is doing without really reflecting on why are we doing this. And then it fails for most companies over and over and over. Or they make a very awkward implementation of it that sort of works. And I think that this is inevitable. It's inevitable because people who have a fraction of the genius of the people who are truly like pioneers, such as say like Musk with Tesla and so forth, like the imitators will never be able to reach that level because they are not geniuses themselves. The only thing that I have ever seen that in my opinion, the thing that dictates whether or not you're a genius level, whatever you're doing, is if you have the ability to look at what is working. Like if you can identify the soul, the heart and soul in some other person's solution to a given problem, and understand how to pull out the things that work from that solution and in a creative manner apply those to your own process. That is a genius level understanding. And that is the reason why, I mean, if I go into an office and I see that everybody's doing an open office layout, and I can listen to the recruiter talk about it, or like the manager talk about it. Yeah, we're doing the office thing, and I kind of go, yep, and all the people here are suffering because of it. And the only reason you did it was because Google told you to do it. Congratulations, you're not a genius level company. Because a genius level company would understand that if the intention here is to create an office space that has all the benefits that Google is promoting, you have to talk to the people in your company and try to figure out a solution that works at your scale, that works for your people. And it might not be the open office thing, it might be remote work. It might be that you have segmented sections where you can go for some quiet time, and some open spaces where you can optionally go and sit, and then you work on the internal dynamics of the group so that people feel motivated to sit in the open spaces with their coworkers that they like a little bit extra, and then the people who really want to just get stuff done, they can go into their cubicle or like do things like that. That's what you do when you're really thinking about the problem rather than just copy pasting it. So what I want you to take away from this is basically that it is like this thing where, you know, there's probably someone out there who has the solution to all these problems that this person was asking about. It's already happening. That's how most of our society actually moves. That's how true innovation usually happens. You have someone who is either extraordinarily gifted, talented, or who has worked really, really hard, make something that rises in popularity, becomes this amazing thing that we all love, and then they become the ideal. and then everybody tries to copy the ideal in their own way. And most of the time you're not going to be able to. In some cases you actually improve upon the thing. I mean, my favorite example of that would be how like Microsoft coming out with like the trackpad or like the touchpad and not really making it work, and then Apple does it and it becomes this even bigger thing. So it's not like just because you came up with the idea you're going to be better. It's all about, do you understand how to solve a problem, or like to capture the heart and soul of an issue and find a solution that really, really works really, really well. And then people copy it. And we continue doing that, well, probably forever. And the reason why I think that you're never going to see just like a complete solution to all the things that you're facing in your company today is because the people who are doing the copying are not geniuses. They're not, in most cases, there are extraordinarily few people who understand the process of correctly, as I like to call it, correctly copying what somebody else is doing. And that requires that you are basically a genius level developer or person yourself, because you have to understand your problems and the problems that of the genius, like say Google or Facebook or whoever you're copying, and understand that there are parts of what they're doing that will make your process better. But you still have to understand your process so well that you know what's going to work for you. So you already have to basically have it's basically the difference is to copy paste something versus being inspired by something. And that is a much trickier thing. Copy pasting is easy. That's super easy. But being inspired and correctly applying nuggets of knowledge somebody else has given you, now that is a problem that is, it's at a genius level mind type of problem. That's what I argue at the very least. Have a great day.